open myself in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I'm opening, I'm opening, I'm opening, I'm opening. I open myself in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I open myself in sweet surrender to the luminous love light of the one. I'm opening, I'm opening, I'm opening, I'm opening, I'm
And so as I open myself to the one, to the consciousness of the one source of all of life, the givingness of the universe, Spirit, Source, God, whatever you choose to call it, we know that it is available to each of us and it is right here, right now. And so I simply affirm for each one here and each one listening that today they are uplifted and supported in their ever-growing expression of this one. That they are able to dive a little deeper into their own hearts and open to the oneness of us all in this beautiful community that we call home, where we know that we are all one. The loving presence that exists in our hearts, in each other, we welcome here together. And so, with gratitude and grace and deep expectation of good and greater good, because that is what universal energy wants for us, I simply let this word go into that creative law that is ever expressing according to our beliefs. And as I believe in the power of prayer, in the power of this word, and in the love in each of you, I simply let it be. And I invite you all to join me in saying, and so it is. Amen. Hallelujah. So, welcome to the Center for Spiritual Living Morristown, a vibrant community where love, joy, and inclusivity are at the heart of everything we do. Here, we honor the unique journey of every soul, offering a place of healing, growth, and celebration. Together, we create an atmosphere of openness and love where every person is seen, valued, and accepted just as they are. I'm Lori Carlson. Like I said, I'm a practitioner at the Center for Spiritual Living here. Thank you to the Reverend Rich Volk for the beautiful music. And I am welcoming all of you here in person or watching online. We are grateful that you are here with us. If this is your first time, and I see a couple of first timers out there, please, we invite you to get a welcome packet, complete a new visitor form so we can include you in future events. And to all of you, we publish a weekly newsletter, and the constant contact form is over there. Please sign it so that you can be informed about what's going on here. We have a lot that goes on here. You can also visit our website, which is cslmorristown.org. So, the 2025 CSL theme is Rising Higher, Growing Deeper. The monthly theme for July is Rolling in the Deep. And today's topic, my topic for today, is diving deep into the creative process, but letting go. And so I am going to be talking to you about that in a little bit, but first, we're going to open the way we always open, which is our Namaste practice. Now, Namaste means the divinity within me recognizes and honors the divinity within you. So what I just always like to point out is that it is a give and a take. It is not just a greeting. It is a seeing the divinity in someone else and then being seen recognize the reception of it as well. So I invite you to put your hands together and to turn to someone near you, next to you, whatever, and to say, you can either say namaste, or you can say the divinity within me recognizes and honors the divinity within you. But say it, see the other person, and be seen as well.
Divinity recognizes and honors the divinity.
So, now we are going to be blessed with another beautiful song by Reverend Rich Folk.
Namaste play. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Everything I've ever done, everything I've ever seen, everything I've lost or won, everything I've ever dreamed has brought me here to the present moment here, to a new beginning here, and I'm seeing life so clearly now. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in. Get ready, my soul. I'm diving in to the deepest kind of love, to the sweetest kind of life. Get ready, my soul. Get ready, my soul.
Thank you, Reverend Rich. That was by Daniel Nahmad, that song. Reverend Rich will be back with original song after the talk. So, diving deep into the creative process and letting go. So I have done several talks here recently about perspective, using paradise as your perspective, about letting go of fears. I spoke in Princeton last week about the lenses you choose, and it always comes back to this creative process of recognizing that your thoughts create your reality, that your thoughts are always expressing around you in the world. Ernest Holmes says, there is a power in the universe greater than you are, and you can use it. And that power is the power of your thoughts, as well as, of course, the power of spirit. But to use it, you have to be aware of it. You have to be conscious of it. You have to make a conscious choice. Now, a simple explanation of the creative process, right, is seed, soil, plant. The thought, the divine idea, the planting into the soil and allowing law to demonstrate, and then the plant, the blossom, is what materializes from that. So that is like a very simple explanation, but I have spoken about the seeds, how important it is to plant the right seeds, how important it is to till the soil and to fertilize the ground in which the seeds are planted. Today we're going to talk about trusting, letting go and trusting that seed will blossom. How many of you have seen like a little tiny bloom in the middle of the concrete, in the middle of a driveway, right? All of a sudden one little flower pops up. So it's trusting that when you plant the seed, that will grow. And it may not be immediately. It may not be, we're going to talk about that in a minute. But part of allowing for that to happen, right, is planting the right seed, but then it is also allowing Spirit to demonstrate through you, opening the channel of receptivity to the divine, because we want that seed we plant to be a divine thought, to be a divine intention, not just an ego thought, not just what we want right here, right now, but really we want to demonstrate the divine idea of us. And to do that, we have to clear our channel. We have to allow for the greatest expression. When I treat at home, I don't always do it here, but I treat like this because it demonstrates to me that I am opening to be receptive, that I am allowing for divine flow. But there are so many things in our lives that get in the way. There are so many things that try to block us from that divine flow, right? All of those limiting beliefs, all of those fears, all of those resentments, all of those distractions, all of those angers, everything, seems like everything around us in our lives is trying to distract us and clutter that channel, because we are all born with divine connection. And then we come into life and things get in the way. And so what is our work to do is to clear the channel, to open again to that divinity that we are born with, to know and to recognize that place within us that is connected to the divine. And it is always up to us to recognize this. So this is not science of mind, but I also do a lot of Buddhist practices, and there's a really beautiful quote by Buddha that says, "Who is your enemy? Mind is your enemy. Who is your friend? Mind is your friend. Learn the ways of the mind. Tend the mind with care." So, it's pretty science of mind when you think about it, right? That tending your mind, knowing the way your mind works, paying attention to the thoughts you choose. We live in a creative universe, a spiritual and mental universe, where what we pay attention to is what manifests. What we focus on is what grows. What we appreciate is what appreciates, all those things. So we get the choice. We have to have the awareness to choose well, and to choose hopefully with divine guidance and with divine inspiration, but then we have to allow for it to happen. Okay, so Ernest Holmes says, "Spirit, which is the creative life principle, is forever flowing through us." Right? We all know that. But man has been given the power or the right to impede or stop its progress in himself. It's because we have free will, right? We know we can tie a cord tightly around our arm and so inhibit the circulation of blood that congestion, stagnation, and infection will follow. In a like manner, through our thinking processes, our ideas and our convictions, we use the tourniquets of negative thoughts and block the flow of the creative life through us. Block the flow with the tourniquet. I'm not talking about the tourniquet that saves your life because you're bleeding. I'm talking about the tourniquet that blocks the flow of that divinity, that divine creative energy that is your birthright, that is the truth of who you are. Right? And so it is your work as a person on a spiritual journey to clear your channel, to loosen that tourniquet, to not tie off that flow with the things of daily life, with the things of ego, with the negative thinking, with the limiting beliefs, with all those things that are so easy to focus on. Well, all the negativity in the world, it's so easy to use that as a way to tie off your oneness with the divine. But what you, like I said, what you focus on is what grows, right? What you sow, you reap. So if you are willing to loosen that flow and allow it into your consciousness, if you are willing to take the time to choose the thoughts that you focus on, there is an infinite possibility for good that can happen. So one of the important things, like I said, this talk is about letting go. Letting go of how you think it should go. Letting go of the timeline of when you think it should happen. Letting go of, we call it in this teaching, not outlining, right? So it's like not saying, oh, this has to happen, then this, then this. You have a vision of your good and you know it and you affirm it, but then you have to let go of how that is going to happen. Because it doesn't always happen the way you want it to, and it certainly doesn't usually, at least in my experience, happen when you want it to. But that doesn't mean that it still isn't going to happen. Because when you plant a seed, that seed might germinate for a long time, but it can still come up through that asphalt, right? We've all seen it, and it is always possible. And part of what makes it possible in this teaching and on a spiritual journey is the trust that it will, is the belief that knowing that if you plant that seed with intention, that seed of love, that seed of givingness, that seed of trust, that it will demonstrate eventually. You know, it's like planting a tree that you're not going to be around long enough to see grow, but you know it's going to shade future generations, right? If you plant the seed with trust and faith, just let it go, surrender it to law, surrender it to spirit, and know that eventually it must demonstrate. So, I have lots of stories for you. I always like to talk about these principles and about the teaching from the perspective of my life, right? Well, that's all I can do. But I like to talk about how it shows up in my life, how I have experienced it. So I have several little stories for you. So one is about, I just saw my niece this past week, and we continued a tradition that began in 1976 with my sister. So we have this book. I started this book with my sister, a blank book where I put quotes and pictures that I thought spoke about my soul and that would show her who I was. And then I would give it to her, and she would keep it for half the year, because my birthday's in June, hers is in January, and she would do a few pages and give it back to me. And this was the way that we, you know, I was just going off to college. It was like, you know, we weren't that close, but this is how we sort of got to know each other on a little bit deeper level. And it was very beautiful. Then life happened. My addiction happened, things happened, it fell by the wayside, and we stopped doing it. And I, you know, kind of forgot all about it. And then in 2020, when my sister was dying from breast cancer, she brought it back out and she gave it to me. And she said, Lori, this has always really meant a lot to me. I'm sorry that we didn't continue it, but I want you to have it. And, you know, looking at that, I can't even talk about it without tearing up. But then I shared it, after she passed, I shared it with my niece, her daughter. And we decided to revive the tradition. And for the past couple of years, my niece and I have been doing this. And it is like such a wonderful way to show somebody who you are and to get to know somebody, to choose what you think will really speak to them, but that speaks from the core of you. So what does this have to do with the creative process and letting go? It took almost 50 years in between when I started this and for its continuation now. Next year will be exactly 50 years. But here's the thing, that seed of connection, that seed of love was planted, and it blossomed in a brand new way, in a brand new, 48 years later, like joyously and beautifully. And so that's the idea, is that you never know when something can materialize from the seeds that you plant. And you have to trust that if you plant them with intention, they will grow. And I actually have that book with me, so after service, if you want to see a page, you come and speak to me. But that is just one way that it shows the connection of spirit. And in this teaching, we believe it's all one mind, right? Well, so here's another little story about that. One of the first quotes that I put in the book in 1976, my niece used as her senior yearbook quote, having never seen the book. We weren't even in contact with each other then because I was deep in my addiction. We weren't even really, knowing each other very much. But that's the connection. That's the connection that we have, that on some level, we both, and it's not even like a really famous quote or anything. It's an anonymous quote. I mean, it just spoke to me at the time, and 40 some years later spoke to her. So it's just really interesting what can happen when you plant a seed and then surrender. Right? I didn't try to control how that was going to go. Just surrendered. So, okay, all these stories. I have another story about being in the flow, about my family, about my birthday. So I went up to see my nephew for my birthday. And on the way back, I decided, it was in Connecticut, and on the way back, I decided to avoid highways. And I had never driven to Connecticut, 2.5 hours, but I had never driven there by myself. I'd always gone with my boyfriend. I had never driven there by myself, and I certainly had never driven off highway. So I decided to do it. I had the time, I had the day, and so I decided to do it. So I'm driving down some dirt gravel road in Connecticut, and my GPS connection cuts out, right? And I'm like, my first thought is, okay, turn around, go back, get back on the grid. You can't do this. And then you know what? That seed of self-belief, that seed that I can do this, that was planted here, that was planted in my spiritual life, that I've watered really well since Richie's passed, that I can do this, that I'm capable, that I don't need somebody else. All of that seed demonstrated, and I took a breath and I said, you know what? I am just going to do this old school. When's the last time you looked at a map and went up and said, okay, at this corner, turn left? Luckily the map was still on my phone, and I did it. I navigated all the way back to my front door without GPS. It came on 2 blocks from my house. And I did it calmly. I whirled the windows down. I turned the radio off, and I just enjoyed the ride. And it took me forever. I had to keep pulling over and going, okay, wait, I'm in this town. What do I do here? Was that a left? But I did it. I did it, and I did it with the spirit of adventure, rather than with a panic and a fear and what am I going to do and I can't do this and all that. I just said, okay, Lori, you can do this. And guess what? On that drive, I also pumped gas for the first time. I'm a Jersey girl. I had never pumped my own gas. Here I am in Connecticut, and I'm like, oh hell, how do I do this? So I did that too, because it was like, yes, Lori, you can. And I chose to believe in that seed that I had planted, and I planted it here. This is coming here is what helped me to believe in myself. Being able to get up here and talk to all of you is what helped me to find that place of believing in myself. So, Joseph Goldsmith says, you can only use the creative principle when you understand that you are the instrument through which it flows. So that creative principle of demonstrating your own belief, of demonstrating what you are planting, the fact that it comes, you have to know that it comes through you. And so here comes back to my question. What are you doing to tune your instrument? What are you doing to clear your channel? What are you doing to allow and surrender? Because that's what it comes back to. What is Lori's mantra? Comes back to your daily practices, right? Coming here on Sunday is great. Reading a book is great. Going to a workshop is great. And we have a creative writing workshop later this afternoon that you are all welcome to stay for. But It's what you do on a daily basis that is what changes your life. Change your thinking, change your life, right? That is the basis of our teaching. And how do you change your thinking? One thought at a time. One action at a time. One choice at a time. Every time you choose to see adventure rather than fear, every time you choose to trust in the divine timing rather than forcing it, here's one thing I know. You can't force creativity. Creativity is about allowing. It is about opening to receive. So here's another little story. So when I went up to see my nephew, he took me for a motorcycle ride. And it was the first time I'd been on the back of a motorcycle since my boyfriend passed in October. And I used to get on the motorcycle and just the sound of the wind and the hum of the motorcycle, and I would just go into that place, right? I wrote poetry. I've written so much poetry on the back of motorcycles. It's like my Zen place. So here I am looking forward to that, and I get on a motorcycle with my nephew, and they all have headsets in their helmets. And they're young, and they talk through the whole thing. So at first I'm like, oh my God, this is not my Zen ride. This is not what I signed up for. And then I thought, you know what, Lori? This is Spirit challenging you to find a new way, to allow for the creative process to come through you in a different way, to accept and surrender to what this is and to stop outlining how you think it should be, right? It isn't the same. And that's okay too. It's different, but it still can be good. And let me tell you, it was great. I put on my own headset music, which I don't usually do when I'm on the bike, put on some bowls or sounds that I liked, and I just got into the ride. And even the rhythm of his voice, although I wasn't listening to what he said, but the rhythm of hearing that sort of tone of his voice became like this beautiful murmur that I resonated with. And it was Spirit speaking to me in a different way. Because I was willing to surrender. I was willing to go with the flow. Because for me, it always comes back to going with the flow, to the choices you make, right? I could have chose to be, resentful and be like, this isn't what I wanted, and why don't you guys shut up, and, or I could choose to find a way to make it work for me. To choose to just accept what it is and glory in what it is. And that's what I chose. So Ernest Holmes also says, life is a mirror and it will reflect back to the thinker what he thinks into it, right? So what are you thinking into your life? Are you thinking, this isn't the way I want it to be? Or are you thinking, wow, what can I do with this? How can I use this differently? How can I see this differently? How can I experience this differently? It's always your choice. And it always comes back down to that. It always comes back down to choice. One of my favorite songs is that song by Natasha Bedingfield, Still Unwritten. Anybody know that song? And because it's about how the next page of your life is still unwritten, right? We're going to be doing this writing workshop later, but it's about the idea that you have the power to write the next page, to write the next chapter. And you get to do that using the creative process. You get to do that from a place of knowing that your thoughts, the thoughts you choose, the thoughts you focus on, create your world and create your life. And I'm not saying that you created what's going on in the world around us, but what I am saying is that you can control how you respond to it. Are you looking out with fear and anxiety and stressing and just retreating into yourself? Or are you saying, what's mine to do? How can I show up? How can I be more loving and kind? How can I take one little action that will hopefully maybe bring a smile to someone's face? Because that's something I can do. Of course, I also go to protests, I also write letters, I also make phone calls. That's what I choose to do. But I'm saying that rather than be dismayed by what is happening, to come back to what is mine to do. What can I do? from right where I am, right here, right now, today. And that's what changes your life. That's what changes your thinking. And we all know nowadays, neuroplasticity, that it's possible to rewire your brain, right? It's possible to choose a different story. It's possible to write a different chapter. You can change the font, you can change the title, you can change how you see it, but it's up to you. It comes back to the freedom that it is in the creative process to choose your thoughts because you have autonomy. Comes back to also responsibility, because now it's your responsibility to take control of them. Now it's your responsibility what happens. I have a sponsee who I love dearly. He used to always say, I just want to sit in the shit and play with the flies. And so that's like the example of abdicating responsibility, right? But once you know the creative process and the power that it gives you, you can't do that anymore. You can't just blame what happened to you. You can't just blame your past. It doesn't define you. It doesn't have to write the next chapter. When you use the creative process, you are always at the point of choice. You are always at the point of change. And that is the power. But it is also the responsibility. Because it's so easy to blame it on somebody else, right? It's so easy to just say, oh, that's what happened, and that happened to me before, so that's going to happen again. But when you assume responsibility, it is so empowering. It makes everything possible. It makes everything possible. And when you clean your channel so that you are in the flow of divine inspiration and divine guidance, there is nothing you cannot do. Take it from me. Was an addict for over 30 years, and now I'm here getting to share with you. So I know that it's really important to assume responsibility, to choose your thoughts wisely, and to do the work, right? The daily practices. I do prayer, affirmations, meditation, gratitude journal. I write, I read, I take classes, I do workshops, I listen to other talks from other centers. I do a lot. I'm not saying you have to do all of that, but I am saying you have to do something. You have to choose what it is for you and do it regularly. I would say daily, at least once a day, if not more than once a day. If it's a walk in nature, if it's beautiful creative art, if it's music, if it's cooking, if it's whatever it is for you that connects you with spirit, that connects you with source, that makes you feel that divine spark and clears your channel, do it. And do it regularly. Do it as often as you can. And do it with joy and with enthusiasm and with gratitude and with trust. Surrender to the process and trust that in the right time, and in the right time, in Spirit's time, that blossom of that seed that you've planted will bloom in some incredibly beautiful way that you have not even yet imagined. Because let me tell you something, 30 years ago, 2 years ago, I could never have imagined myself here in front of you, doing a writing workshop with the amazing Chara Rodriguera later. I am so blessed, and I am so grateful, and I know that today. And that's where the power lies. The power lies in knowing that you have the choice at every moment to choose again. Okay, I think that's enough for me, and now we are going to be blessed with another song, an original song by Reverend Rich Volk, and then I will be back to lead us in a little meditation.
Thank you, Lori. That was great. Great. Whenever Lori comes to Princeton, everybody's like, wow, Lori. we know we're going to get the juice. We're really going to get it,
Thank you, Reverend.
So I don't really know know this song, you know, it's like yesterday, so. There's a silence in the morning when the stars linger low, and I sit there with my longing for a truth I've yet to know. Not a whisper, not a thunder, but a stillness drawing near, where my heart begins to wander and the soul begins to clear. I'm diving deep where the current runs slow, where the dreamer meets the doer and the river starts to flow, in the chamber of the heart where the seeds are one to grow. I'm diving deep into the all I've come to know. So I rise with my devotion to the work and to the flame. Let the winds of pure emotion carve a truth I will not name, for the flow is ever guiding like a river knows the sea. The art is in the finding of the love that flows to thee. Diving deep where the voices all still, where the quiet paints a vision and the pulse becomes the will. In the garden of the mind, love is shaping every hill. I'm diving deep, and the world begins to fill. It's not a gift that is given, it's a song that's always sung, a melody eternal in the air and on the tongue. Creation is a prayer, not for pleading but for praise. It's the fire in the arts and the dawn all our days. I'm diving deep in the wellspring inside, where the silence turns to color and the soul forgets to hide. In the stillness of the source, I no longer need to try. I'm diving deep in the heart that paints the sky. Diving deep in the heart that paints the sky.
So beautiful. And he wrote that just for us today, during the topic of this talk today. So thank you very much for the inspiration. So, I'm going to invite you now to join me in a meditative practice about diving deep into that wellspring of your heart, into that place where spirit lives. So I invite you to close your eyes and to just take a deep breath and settle into this moment. Allow your shoulders to drop. Feel your feet on the ground. Feel supported. Right here, right now, you are safe. Right here, right now, you are held in the arms of spirit. Right here, right now, you are connected to that divine flow. Now, if you're comfortable doing so, I invite you to bring your hands over your heart space And to take a deep breath into your heart, feeling it fill up with light, with warmth, with spirit. Just take a few breaths, being conscious of your heart and connecting with it, and feeling its connection to spirit. And as you breathe in, imagine the softening and the opening of your heart. And as you breathe out, let go of all those things that are cluttering your channel. Breathing in the divine connection and breathing out anything that stands in the way. Those things might be doubts, fears, resentments, angers, to-do lists, all of the busy chatter of our lives. Just breathe it out. And on your next in-breath, into that space you have cleared, breathe in a deeper connection with the divine. And exhaling out anything that stands in the way. Allowing space for that divinity within you. And then in that divine space of that open heart, bring to mind a seed idea, something you want to grow and manifest in your life. And just gently plant it there, in your heart, in your consciousness, in the soil of the subjective mind. Plant that seed. And as you leave it there with trust that it will grow, I want you to really envision that. See that little blossom of whatever it is manifesting in your life. Maybe it's better relationships with your family. Maybe it's a better job. Maybe it's just being willing to connect with people. Whatever it is, know that you have planted that seed. And on the next breath, I want you to really release it, surrender it into trust. And to trust that spirit will demonstrate. Because you are doing your work. You are tilling the soil by clearing your channel. By doing your daily practices. By staying in gratitude and surrendering the timeline. Just take a moment and internalize how that feels. To really trust and know that Spirit's got you. When you are ready, you can just release, let go, surrender, and on the next breath, gently return to the room. Open your eyes, wiggle your toes, your fingers, and come back right here, right now. And so, from this place of deep connection with your heart, it is time for our conscious giving. And so I invite you to give from that place of abundant joy and gratitude that has filled your heart, that has opened your mind to the creative process, and to simply know. I'm going to pass a basket. I'm also passing a sign up for social hour. Here, you want to pass that on that side? Thank you. So I just want you to give from that place of knowing that as you give, so you receive. And so you give to those places that fill your heart. You give to those places that fill your spirit, because that is how you will get more of it back. So whether you give financially, there's a basket going around, there's a Venmo and a PayPal code up there. You can go on our website and hit the donate button, which is what I do. You can give by bringing a friend, by bringing new people. You can give by signing up for a social hour. You can give by volunteering to come and help clean up things at the center. There's lots of ways to give, and we welcome them all. We want you to feel like you are a part of this community, and giving back is part of how you feel that way. So I invite you all to do that, and as the basket goes around, I invite you to join me in this affirmation of abundance. As I give my gift, it returns to me multiplied abundantly. I give from that deep place of surrender, knowing with gratitude and joy, my good is my good, and it is ever available to me. And so it is. Okay, so I have a few announcements, and then I'm going to do a closing treatment. And for those of you who are new, a treatment is our word for affirmative prayer. And what that means is that we are not begging and beseeching to a God outside of ourselves, but we are affirming our inner divinity, our inner connection, and we are affirming the good that we want. Just so you know. All right, so we have Science of Mind magazines back there. They are double issues now, so it is July and August, so there's still, even though it's the end of July, there's still a lot of good stuff in there. They are available in the back. We have a writing workshop today at 1 o'clock with myself and Chara Rodriguera. You can still sign up. There are still a few spots left. We have a concert coming up, which I'm already registered for, and I suggest you don't miss it. It's on Friday, August the 1st with Bob Sima and Shannon Plummer, and they are amazing. And I can't wait. Last year I was in Costa Rica when they played here, and I can't wait to see them. They are always such fun, and their music is so inspiring, and his music has been like the foundational part of my spiritual journey. And then on Sunday, September 7th, we have the amazing Kat Roman doing a sound bath. This fills up too. Sign up now, sign up on Breeze, because she is amazing and you don't want to miss that. Okay, so those are our announcements. Now I'm going to do a closing spiritual mind treatment, which is our word for affirmative prayer, and then we will have another song with Reverend Rich, and then we invite you all to go over to the other room for social hour, which is a potluck today. I'm also always available for Treatment Express. You know me, I love to pray, so if anybody wants to find me for a quick treatment at the end of service, I'm very happy to do that. So let's just close our eyes, and I invite you to hear these words as if they were your own, because in a way they are. Right here, right now, I know that the infinite good of God flows through me. I open myself to receive this good with blessings and grace. And I know that this infinite, giving, loving presence flows through me as I open my channel to receive. And as I surrender to the creative process with responsibility and with joy and with freedom of choice, I know that my life is forever in my own hands. And so I am grateful for this community, for this teaching, for this opportunity to deepen my connection with Source, for this chance to know the truth together. And that truth is that we are one with the divine. That truth is that we are always at a power of choice in our lives. And so I know right here, right now, for each one here, each one listening, each one watching at another time, that we are empowered to make the right choices. We are empowered to use our thoughts to create the lives that we wish to live. We are empowered to show up as love in action in the world and create a world that works for everyone. And so with deep gratitude and grace, I simply release this word into that ever-present and loving law that does unto us as we believe. And so, having dove a little deeper into our belief, into our understanding, we simply surrender and let it go. Let it go into the flow. And I invite you all to join me in saying, and so it is. Amen. Hallelujah. And now we have another song.
I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on the spirit. Yes, I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on the spirit. I woke up this morning with my mind stayed on the spirit. Hallelujah, hallelujah, hallelujah. I'm walking and talking with my mind. Talking to my mind, stay down spirit. I'm walking and talking to my mind.